3.6, we're going to graph some quadratic inequalities. The first thing we want to do is graph it as if it was y equals. So we're going to find line of symmetry, vertex, y-intercept. So we plugged in b and a, we'd get x equals -1. Now our vertex lies on our line of symmetry, so that tells us the x value for our vertex is that -1. You take that x value, plug it into the original to find the y. Turns out it's going to be 0. So -1, 0 is our vertex. And then we can find another point. I usually like to go for the y-intercept. Remember, the y-intercept always happens when x is 0. So we'd plug in that x equals 0 into the original to get our y value. We're going to get -1. So 0 minus 1 is our other point. And then remember, line of symmetry, so we can mirror it to the other side. Now before we draw in our parabola, we need to consider our inequality. So if it is strictly less than or greater than, we're going to need to use a dotted line. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, then we can use a solid line. So here we have strictly less than, dotted line. Now we need to test a point. You can choose any point, choose something easy. I usually like to go with 0, 0. So we're going to take x and y from the point we chose, put it into the original, and then our goal is to see, does this point make this statement true or false? So y is 0. My x is going to be 0. Zero squared is 0, 2 times 0 is 0. So my statement is 0 is less than -1. That is definitely false. So since this point out here gives us a false statement, it's actually going to turn out every point you test out here would give you a false statement. And any point you tested inside should give us a true statement. So every point in here would make this statement true. Points on our parabola would give us a false statement. That's why we're using a dotted line. Points outside should give us a false statement. All right, let's do one more. So for example 2, this is already written in vertex form. We're going to start the same way. So start as y equals vertex form. So our vertex is going to be hk -1, -2. So -1, -2. And remember, your line of symmetry goes through your vertex. Y-intercept, we find the same way. Y-intercept happens when your x value is 0. So we plug in 0, and turns out we'll get 0. So our y-intercept is 0, 0. Reflect over our line of symmetry. Greater than or equal to, so we can use a solid line. And just like before, we want to test a point. It's your choice. I will choose 1, 0. No, I had it right the first time, 0, 1. So we want to plug this into the original. So y is 1. One squared is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. 1 is definitely larger or equal to 0. 1 is bigger than 0. So this is true. So since this point gave us a true statement, every point in here should give us a true statement.